Hello, 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 everybody. I hope you're having a great day. How's it going? Good to see everybody. Hello, how's it going? It's just me today. Lloyd sent me a message at like 3 in the morning last night that he couldn't make it today. And don't worry, everything's fine. But he couldn't make it today, so he asked if I would do the show solo, and I said, sure, I'm used to doing the show on my own because I do my my Nintendo show by myself. So I'm used to just being able to talk, and that means I'm going to need a lot more input from you guys today. All right, so I'm going to be watching chat as best I can as I talk about stuff. That's right, Lloyd is currently trapped in an ice cube. So, big hellos to everybody. I want to start off today by turning the music down. There we go. I want to start today off by saying thank you, big thank you to Mondo Xenomorpho, Chris Peters, Klopschnadel, Ray Sherrod, and 916 Martin. Thank all of you for becoming members here on the channel. If you're here live and you're watching, and of course you are, then you probably see all these names in chat that are green. Those green named people, those are members. So big thank you to all of the members, and especially the new members that just started. That's right, the Discord bug for Lloyd is really bad today. Hold on a sec. All right, I'm back. All right. So, we're starting the show any minute now. I'm just I'm giving people a chance to get here. Since I started, I set the stream live a little bit earlier than I usually do. Hello there, James MC, Art by Committee, Pierre Cabana, Cyber Ferret, Darren Pogue, Justin Lindholm, Brett, Anthony Talcott. Oh man, I almost forgot. Let me do this right now. Hold on a sec, everybody. So, I just got to remember how to do it. Drive. There we go. So I'll go a new Google form. Blog giveaway. That's right. Big thanks to Anthony Talcott. I want to make sure I spell the name Anthony right. My brain wants to put an H in there. There is an H in there, and there's 2 T's at the end. Okay. For sponsoring? Providing. Let's see. The question. What's your name? Enter your name to win. We'll go with email address. That way I have a way to get a hold of the person. Email address to win. And we'll do response validation, and we will make sure that the text is an email address. And it's required. And to make sure that people are only doing it once, We're going to go limit to one response. Save. So now, I think I did it right. Copy. All right, everybody. So I'm going to talk about this during the show, I'm sure. But Anthony Talcott said that he bought an extra claw, and he wants me to give it away to one of you lucky people. So if you are interested in getting a claw for Google Stadia, then click on that form right there and enter your email address. Okay? If you enter your email address in there, then I will be able to I'll choose a winner at random from that list. All right? And it's going to happen today. Probably by the end of the show. Hey there, Cloud Gamer. What's up, man? But big thank you to you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do the giveaway itself today. I'll start collecting email addresses for the giveaway today, but I will give it away next Saturday during, I always forget the name of it, Stadia Super Saturday. All right, I'll give it away on Saturday. So big thank you to Anthony for providing the claw. And he still has it at his house. He was like, I'm going to ship it to you, Bill. And I said, don't ship it to me, because then you're paying for shipment to ship it to me. And then I got to pay for shipment to ship it to somebody else. And that just means we're giving extra money to the shipping company. So just hold on to it, and then you can ship it to the winner. And he's like, oh, of course. All right. Are you guys ready to record a podcast? Well, good luck to you, Gavin. I don't play, like, I don't think I would play on my phone very often. Happy Cloud Gamer, have you tested GeForce Now? I'm going to talk about it on the show today. I don't know what you're worried about, Andrew. If you're enjoying the game, then enjoy the game. Done percolating. There we go. All right. Well, everybody, I think it's time to make an MP3. All right. So I've got that muted. I can mute those two channels, and I can turn that down. And I'm recording. So it's time to get started. It's time to record the show. Here we go, everybody. Welcome back to Stadiacast, everyone. I'm Bill, and today I am flying solo. I got a call from, or not a call, but I got a text from Lloyd, I don't know, like 3 o'clock this morning, and he said, hey, man, I can't make it tomorrow. Fly solo without me. And I said, no problem. I'm used to recording podcasts solo. In fact, I've been doing it for years. My Nintendo show is just me all by myself, so I figured I'd be fine to be able to do that. So let's talk Stadia, but first, if you want to directly support Stadiacast and you are here with us live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., then use the Super Chat feature to support the show and make sure that I see your message. There's usually lots and lots of people in chat, and by the end of the show, it's going pretty fast, and I can't pick out every everything that somebody says, but if you use the super chat feature, it highlights your message. Every single super chat in the second half of the show gets read and addressed. You can also now become a member of the channel. If you didn't know, you can click on the join button to become a member of the channel. And I want to thank a bunch of new members that just showed up this morning. Mondo Xenomorpho, Chris Peters, Klopp Schnadel, Ray Sherrod, and 916 Martin. All of those people became members roughly 30 minutes ago, right before the show started. So big thank you to them. If you want to know more about becoming a member, click on that join button. It's time to get started. Before we do, though, and I'm going to put this in the show notes. I made this just now, so I have not yet had a chance to put this in the show notes, but big supporter and longtime listener to the show, Anthony Talcott, reached out to me and they said, hey, I bought a claw, and then I bought another claw, and then I bought another claw. I don't know. The guy has 12 controllers and 17 phones, and he needs ways to play, but he ended up buying one too many, and he wanted me to give it away. So if you go to runjumpstomp.com, it's not there yet, but it'll be there by the time you hear this. If you're watching this live, it's not there yet, and you could just scroll up if you're watching live to get the link. But if you're listening to this after the fact, go to runjumpstomp.com. This is episode 44 of Stadiacast, and you're going to find a Google form there. All right, it's called the Claw Giveaway, and there's already 22 people in there. So here's all you got to do. All right, you enter your email address, and next Saturday, as part of Stadia Super Saturday or Super Stadia Saturday or Super Stadia Super Saturday Stadia, I don't know. I can never remember what order the words are in, but next Saturday at 12 noon, Lloyd and I are doing a thing as part of Super Stadia Saturday, and I'll give away the claw at that point. All right. So again, if you're listening to this now live, then go ahead and enter your email address, and I'll give it away that way. Big thank you to Anthony Talcott for providing that for this giveaway. Anyway, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about Stadia. Let's talk about all of the Stadia news, and I want to start by looking at this Activision Blizzard thing. So this comes to us from the Motley Fool. The Motley Fool is a, it's like, oh gosh, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like a financial website, and they have basically the Q&A section of Blizzard's investors call, Activision Blizzard's investor call. And I was looking through that, and I found some references to Google in there because, Activision Blizzard just did this deal with Google where they are now exclusively streaming Overwatch League as well as, I think, Call of Duty League, if I remember correctly. They're exclusively streaming those things on YouTube Gaming, which is very good for YouTube Gaming. I think at the end of the day, it's probably bad for users in general. In fact, the other day, I was sitting there on my phone, and I saw that they were streaming an Overwatch League thing, and absolutely all of the comments that when I looked at it, all of the comments were go back to Twitch or let us watch on Twitch. And I'm all for them streaming it on YouTube Gaming. I think that that's fine, but I'm not for it being exclusive to YouTube Gaming because that's just a company, one company paying another company to make sure that some people don't get to see the content. And I just think that that's lame. So just Blizzard, stream it everywhere. Don't do these exclusives. Don't do an exclusive with YouTube Gaming. Don't do an exclusive with Twitch. Don't do an exclusive with Facebook, and they've done that before too. Just stream it on all of the platforms so that people can go and watch it wherever they want to. That's my advice to Blizzard. But hey, they're not going to listen to me, and why should they? They are like I think they made $20 billion last year or something like that. I don't know. It was a lot of money. And, I made not nearly that much. I didn't even make $1 billion last year. Anyway, let's talk about what the during the Q&A session, there was a question that says, specifically, thanks. Digging down a little bit into your relationship with Google, I'm wondering what are the key factors behind the decision to partner with GCP, and then as well as YouTube gaming, are there as well, oh my God, this is so hard to read. Are there as well their considerations or implications embedded that could increase your level of support for Stadia? Thank you. So basically he's saying, look, you're working with Google, you're working with YouTube gaming. Does this foreshadow some kind of Activision / Blizzard games on Google Stadia? So then the president and COO, Cody Johnson, replied. He said, sure. Hey, this is, and I hate the way that this reads, but it's definitely just people talking, and I would prefer if they would have typed it out ahead of time or something. Well, anyway, he says, sure. Hey, this is Cody. I'll take that, and I'll take first. As Bobby mentioned, Bobby Kotick, as Bobby mentioned really today in an interview, we've had a long-standing relationship with Google. That's been great. We are thrilled to formalize that into a deeper partnership over multiple years. And as you said, there's really two big pieces to it. The first is sort of the global IT infrastructure, and then the second is on what's really just a fantastic content platform in YouTube. So first, he's talking about, look, they have, Google has lots of really good servers. We have a lot of multiplayer games, some massively multiplayer games, and it makes a lot of sense for us to use Google's network because then we don't have to deal with our own. At least that's how I understand what I'm reading it. All right, moving on. He then says, on the first piece, we have the opportunity to do now. Oh my God, what we have the opportunity to do now is have more efficient and better delivery in the way that Bill reads things. Just kidding. In the back-end services and infrastructure handled by our partner where that is their great expertise. Basically what I just said. Let Google handle it so we don't have to. And what it allows us to do is it frees up our resources and developers and mind share to focus on what we do best, which is making content and getting it out into the hands of players at a faster cadence. That is a great balance and trade for us, and we feel really good about this partnership and how that can carry us going forward. So basically he's saying we're going to let YouTube handle all of the network infrastructure, or not YouTube, Google handle all of the network infrastructure nonsense that we don't want to have to deal with. And what we will deal with is making games. And I think at the end of the day, that's a very good move on Activision Blizzard's part. He goes on to say, on the content side on YouTube, there's 200 million gamer viewers on YouTube. And it's just a tremendous opportunity to bring our platform to new audiences there. We think not only just in the way that players can experience it today, put new modes and formats, and also YouTube is a great on-demand viewing platform. And we think viewers might be increasingly interested in viewing our content that way. There are other pieces to this deal where there is real value, we think, in terms of how we utilize their platforms and how they help us build more reach and engagement in our ecosystem. Not in this deal, and you mentioned it as Stadia. All right, so basically what he's saying is, look, YouTube is very, very good for watching stuff that has already happened and is in the past. So, YouTube can do live just fine. Twitch can do live just fine. Twitch can allow you to watch VODs, but nobody goes there for it. And I think that what they're saying here is because YouTube is such a good on-demand viewing platform, I feel like they're looking at it and saying, if people aren't around at the time when it's live, they don't go to Twitch to watch it. They go to YouTube to watch it after the fact. And so it makes more sense for them just to stream it on YouTube. And I agree with that 100%. I just think that they should also stream it on Twitch, because they said specifically, look, there's 200 million gamer views on YouTube. That's a tremendous opportunity to bring our platform to a new audience there. Well, guess what? You can still bring your platform to a new audience there and still provide that same thing to a different audience on Twitch or on Facebook or Mixer or whatever. Anyway, then at the very end, he mentions Stadia. He says Stadia is not in this deal. Okay, so that's pretty definitive that Stadia is not in this deal. Does that mean that they are not bringing games to Stadia? Let's read how he finishes up. There's cloud gaming streaming experiences that are driving to the consumer. We continue to watch with interest and will make appropriate assessments as we go forward to figure out our own next steps there. But I think what it points to is just as the last thought a broader point, which is over the last 2 years, we've been talking about these large technology players that are coming into our space at scale. He means our space, the gaming space. And what we've said is we see this tremendous opportunity as a content provider to take advantage of where we sit in the space. And this we could use an example is just a large amount of value for us as we go forward. And we think we're only even better positioned for other partnerships as we take the next steps. Thanks. Okay, what does that mean? It means that maybe they're working with Stadia, maybe they're not. Maybe they're working with Microsoft, maybe they're not. Maybe they're working with Amazon, maybe they're not. Maybe they're making their own, and maybe they're not. But what it really means is they are watching, and they're not ready to say anything yet. Okay, they're looking at the platform, they're looking at cloud gaming, and whether they're making anything or not, they're not ready to talk about it yet. What he said here does not mean that Stadia will not get Activision games. It also doesn't mean that Stadia will get Activision games. So anybody that tells you otherwise is full of beans. All right, so that I thought was very interesting information, and I wanted to share that with you. Now, I want to talk about GeForce Now. I did a video earlier this week about GeForce Now, and I did like my first look at it. And first off, there were a lot of angry people who were fans of GeForce Now who got mad at me for not knowing everything about the platform my very first time trying it. They were like, I can't believe this guy is reviewing GeForce Now and he doesn't know anything about it. And to those people, I want to say, it wasn't a review. It was my first time using it. So, I don't know, relax. And then I want to talk about my experience with it. So, I tried it out, and it works really well. It works really well. And I've seen a lot of people who are fans of Stadia saying that it's garbage. And I've seen a lot of people who are fans of GeForce Now who say that Stadia is garbage. And I have to say, hey, everybody, there's room for both. There really is. You don't have to make an investment into either one. When Stadia Base comes out later on this year, you'll have the option to play games on Stadia. You'll have the option to play games on GeForce Now. And there's no reason why you can't use both. In fact, GeForce Now solves a problem that I think a lot of people, like myself, may have. Where, well, okay, I don't want to use myself as an example because I've got a pretty decent gaming computer. It's about to get a lot better. I got a Ryzen 5 in my hand. I'm just waiting for the motherboard. But I've got a pretty decent gaming computer. And I can run most games pretty damn well, especially because of my ridiculous video card. But there's a lot of people out there who have been playing games for years, and they got sick of continually upgrading their PC. And they didn't want to throw $500 at a console or whatever the console price is. Don't come at me saying, oh, this console only costs this much when it's on sale. I don't care, okay? They didn't want to throw a bunch of money at a console. They didn't want to throw a bunch of money at their PC. And they have this huge library of Steam games that they just never play anymore. And maybe they would try out something if they had a way to play it. That's where Stadia comes in. They can say, oh, well, I don't have a computer or a next-gen console that can run Doom 2016. You know, I've got this old 2011 MacBook, and I want to try out Stadia. Well, or I want to try out the new Doom. Well, guess what? Now you're going to be able to play Doom Eternal on Stadia. And if you want to play all of your old Steam games, if you want to try those out on your MacBook or whatever, well, you can do that too. Then you would use GeForce Now. I feel like these are two platforms that are different enough. There is definitely room for both of them in the gaming industry. There's definitely, and because there's no huge upfront cost, there's way more room out there that there's way more room out there because there's no huge upfront cost. I guess that's what I was trying to say. Mr. Urban World he said, I have 500 cable channels on my Shield TV too. So I'm not really responding to what he said, but it just gave me an idea. Think of GeForce Now and Google Stadia and maybe Microsoft xCloud and whatever Twitch thing that we end up getting from Amazon down the road. Think of all of those things as different TV channels. You know what I mean? You have all of these TV channels. Do you only watch one channel? Do you limit yourself? Okay, that's it. I'm only watching Home Shopping Network now. That's the only show. That's the only channel I'm allowed to watch. Yeah, there's channels over here, and I could watch them if I want, but I don't want to watch those channels. I only want to watch this one channel. That's just ridiculous. I can understand not investing in HBO if there were no shows on it that you want to watch. But when you can try it for free, when you can just watch, like you can just turn on your TV and watch something, like why wouldn't you? And that's what cloud gaming is all about. Cloud gaming is all about this idea that I don't have to invest in hardware. Somebody else can do that for me. Now, there's going to be people out there who are saying, but, GeForce Now is better because it gives you access to all of your Steam games. That's great. I think that is very, very good. And that's why it can exist in the same space as Google Stadia. I know that there are people out there who expected Google Stadia to be the Netflix of games. And when they didn't get exactly what they expected, they decided before trying it that it was a horrible, horrible failure. And there are people out there who are looking at GeForce Now, and they look at that and they say, you know what? This isn't Google Stadia, so I'm deciding to hate it. And those people are making the same mistake that all of the Stadia haters are. They're both good platforms. I played Destiny 2 on both platforms. I did like the intro level, and it was essentially the same experience. I will say this, that when I'm playing on a Chromecast with the Stadia controller, it feels better than Google Stadia in a web browser, and it feels better than GeForce Now. Those are I think that Stadia in a web browser and GeForce Now are roughly equivalent experiences, and Chromecast and the Stadia controller are a step up from those experiences, in my opinion. Now, of course, there's going to be people who are saying, hey, Bill, what about this streaming platform? What about this? Like, I think there's the Shadow one where you can rent a PC and then you can just do whatever you want on it. And what about xCloud? I haven't talked about xCloud because I haven't tried it yet. But why does it have to be GeForce Now versus Stadia? Why can't it be GeForce Now and Stadia? Because later on this year, they're both going to have free options. And GeForce Now's free option is pretty damn compelling. It's an hour of gameplay, it's 1080p, and it's your Steam library. And Stadia, its free thing is going to be 1080p. It won't be limited by an hour. Or at least I don't think it will. They haven't said that. I hope that they don't. But it won't be limited to an hour. And it's serving, I feel like it serves the same audience, but it serves the same audience in a different way. And I think that that's perfectly reasonable thing to expect. Anyway, I await all of your comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, I await all of your comments in the comment section down below, telling me how wrong I am and that I need to, hate on Google GeForce Now, or I need to decide that Stadia is dead, because that's all that anybody ever wants to do is tear something down. And there's really no reason, because there's room enough in my mind space for all of them. If you think for a second that I'm not going to try xCloud when it comes to a PC or iOS, you're crazy. If you think I'm not going to try out the Twitch version of whatever Amazon brings us, you're nuts. Like, why would I not use those things unless they are subscription based and there's no free version? Like, of course I'm going to try them. And if there is a subscription and it's really compelling, I'll probably pay it, because that means I don't have to keep upgrading other stuff. Anyway, I wanted to say that there's no reason to hate on either thing. Let me take a quick break. I'll take a sip of water, and when we get back, you're going to we're going to talk about the community update from Google.
Nuts for Nintendo.
And I didn't have time to take a drink, so now I'm just going to do it anyway. All right. So we've got a community update from Google. And the community update says, this week in Stadia, rev up your engine. Monster Energy Supercross 3 official video game is now out. And I'm curious, how many people out there decided to pick that up? I did not. I have trials because it was so cheap to get trials. And I know that this is a different game. But I have to say, by the way, brilliant move on the part of whoever makes trials by putting that game on sale. Look, you've got Supercross 3 coming out. It's a motocross game. And then you've got trials right before Motocross 3 comes out, or Supercross 3 comes out. You put your game on sale for a really, really cheap price, and then people buy it, and then they say, I don't know that I need another dirt bike game. I've got this one. I just think that that's pretty brilliant. Anyway, so here, this is from community.stadia.com, and it says, this week on Stadia, rev up your engine, the knuckle-whitening, pulse-pounding excitement. Hold on, I got to read this the right way. Sorry. The knuckle-whitening, pulse-pounding excitement of competitive motorsports comes to Stadia this week. Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game 3. It's a horrible name for a game, by the way. Debuts on Stadia this Tuesday. Supercross 3 challenges you to build a career and join one of Monster Energy Supercross's official teams, perform death-defying leaps across a variety of iconic arenas, create chaotic online multiplayer races, and play co-op with friends in the Supercross test area. Design your own dream courses with the versatile integrated track editor. Supercross 3 lands on Stadia February 4th for $60 US. I'm very curious. This is not a game that is appealing to me. I'm not interested. And honestly, I like Trials, and I like how arcadey it is. I feel like this probably would not be nearly as arcadey, so it doesn't appeal to me. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if you're watching this on YouTube. And let me know if you're playing this game and what you think of it on Stadia. I didn't want to invest in a game that I just wasn't interested in, so that's why I didn't buy it. All right. And since you're leaving a comment down below, don't forget to like the video. Where's my thumb? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and all of the other things that they ask you to do on YouTube. All right. What else do we have? The Joker. The Joker arrives in Mortal Kombat 11. It says here, the Crown Prince of Crime is coming to the Netherrealm. The Joker is now available to Mortal Kombat 11 players on Stadia, harnessing his signature twisted sense of humor with violent moves, sinister style, and brutal new fatalities. If you've already purchased Mortal Kombat 11 Combat Pack, then you can start playing as the Joker immediately. If you don't have the Combat Pack, you can pick up the Joker as a standalone add-on for $6 in the Stadia store, or you can pick up the Combat Pack for $16 for a limited time. Offer ends February 5th. Regular price is $40. Man, $40 for that DLC. It's pretty expensive. Anyway, I again, I'm not a Mortal Kombat guy. I haven't really enjoyed a Mortal Kombat game since Mortal Kombat 2. That was the one that I played in the arcade. I would go to the arcade. I would put my quarter on the arcade. And I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I got to switch cameras. Where's my solo? Yeah, there we go. There's an arcade cabinet right over there. All right. There we go. Anyway, I would go up in the arcade. I would put the quarter on the thing. I got next, and then I would play as Sub-Zero, and I would play for hours. I loved Mortal Kombat 2. And Mortal Kombat 11, I don't know, looks like more of the same. That being said, I haven't played one since 2, or I haven't really enjoyed one since 2, so Jem in chat wants to know if the arcade can play Stadia. No, it's got a RetroPie on there. RetroPie. Anyway, just wanted to let people know that the Joker is now out. So take that, Batman. All right. Destiny 2 Empyrean Foundation is coming. Now, a game that I'm interested in. I've had a lot of fun playing Destiny 2. In fact, I played some last night. I had started over, and I had to play through the Red War campaign again, and I finished that last night. The whole thing where you're running down the outside and the sun is beating down and like burning you, and if you're not in the shade. What an amazing set of moments in that that penultimate fight before you go up against the last guy. That's just an amazing moment in gaming. Anyway, today, and when did they post this? This was posted on the 4th. All right, so on the 4th at 9 a.m. Pacific time, the Empyrean Foundation rebuild effort begins its brand new Destiny drop. Saint 14 asks all Guardians to contribute to building the beacon that will be the foundation for things to come next season. The Tower Obelisk is the focal point of this event, so make sure that you have it unlocked and ready to go, as it is going to have some hefty benefits to take advantage of. Players will need to come together and contribute resources toward a common goal. This reminds me of back when I was playing World of Warcraft, and it really had its claws into me. And there was this thing called Encourage, and basically everybody had to go out to low-level zones and stuff and get materials and then bring them and turn them in. And it was basically a race to see who could get it done first, which server could get all of the materials needed in order to open up the portal to Encourage. I thought that was a really cool thing. Let's see what this is happening. How can you contribute? Contributing to the Empyrean Foundation's costs 100 polarized fractaline. I don't know what that means. I'm still a noob in that game. It generates 25% progression for all time slot weapon bounties in your inventory. Your obelisk will generate polarized fractaline for you each week, equivalent to its resonance power. And players who donate more than 5,000 polarized fractaline before the end of the season will earn a triumph and an emblem. So, sounds pretty cool. I think that there's some... Look, if you don't play these 3 games, there's nothing to be excited for here. And I know that that's not a popular opinion right now. I'm enjoying Stadia. I've been playing a lot of Metro Exodus. I've really, really been enjoying that game. Unfortunately, I'm doing it as a Let's Play, so that means I can't play it unless I'm recording something. So I'm going through that game extremely slow. I've been having fun with Trials. I've been having fun with Destiny 2. But here we are. Like, what are we, 6 weeks now into the new year? We haven't heard anything about new games. And while I am enjoying the games that yes, motocross, okay, that's a new game. Save your emails. But we need more. We need more games. That's the biggest complaint that I think anybody can say about Stadia is that there's just not enough games. Now, if you have not played all of these games, like me, I've not played these games before, then sure, there's some games for you to play, and that's why I'm okay with it. Bibbity Bop in chat is saying Division 2 and Crew 2 are coming. Yeah, well, I think we already knew about that, though, and we don't have dates for it yet, though. All right, we just know that they are coming to Stadia. I'm not surprised about that at all. We need more games. There needs to be games for the people who already played all of the games that are here. Somebody just asked me, Bill, have you played Guilt? Yes, I played it. I finished it. I reviewed it right here on this channel, so you can check that out. Happy Cloud Gamer says, I can't play anything on Stadia with my kids. I mean, you could play Trials. You could play Trials with your kids. That's a fun game. It really is a fun game. It's good and doofy, and it is overall a very fun game. All right. So how are we going to get all of these games? Well, Google says that they're going to single-handedly do it. Not really. This is a story from the Wall Street Journal. They said that basically they are going to be tripling their Montreal workforce, or their Canadian workforce. They currently, I think, have 1,500, and they're planning on tripling that by 2022. So Google is going to be going on a big hiring. They're going to hire a lot more people, and I'm sure that many of those people will be game designers, which means that we're going to get a lot of cool first-party games from Stadia Games and Entertainment, but it's going to be a while, and we're just going to have to be patient. There's people who are wondering about Uplay Plus. Rusty Homebrew says, I would love to know more about Uplay Plus and whether we can sign up and play Uplay on both PC and Stadia on the same subscription for one price. I would assume that you can. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. It would be very, very foolish of Ubisoft to make it so that you have to subscribe twice. I don't see that happening. But Uplay Plus, sure, that's going to be, there's going to be a lot of people who are happy about that. But for me, there's very few games that Ubisoft makes that I am really interested in. I mean, I don't care about any Tom Clancy games, although I did see that GameStop has The Division 2 on sale for $5 used for PS4 and Xbox One. So if you're interested in that, I saw that tweeted out by Wario64 this morning. William Millard says, are we able to share games with the family yet? No, we do not have family sharing yet. I wish that we did, because I've got a bunch of games that I'd like to be able to share with my son, but we can't yet. Anyway, those are the big stories for today, or for this week. I know it's, for me, I'm disappointed. I still think that I think that Stadia is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But I really, really need them. I need them to talk more about what's happening. And I know they can't say stuff about games that are coming that are third-party games. But then, you know what? Just be more open with your first-party stuff and tell us what's going on. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. Okay. Let's move on to one last story today. This one is from gamesindustry.biz, and it's an article that I wanted to point to because it's basically, this guy must have listened to my podcast over the last 40 something weeks, and I said it enough times that he finally heard it. I'm just kidding. This guy, I'm sure he came to his own conclusions because they're the right conclusions. And basically he says, have we got Stadia all wrong? Google Stadia's focus should be on accessibility, not on subscription models or exclusives. That's what I've been saying. I have been saying this since the very beginning. Nobody listens to me. Everybody argues with me. Everybody says, no, we have to make sure that there's a subscription that you subscribe and then you have access to 100 games or whatever, like Xbox Game Pass. You have to have crazy exclusives in order for the platform to succeed. And I've been saying over and over, those things would help, but they are not necessary for Google to succeed with Stadia. That's what I've been saying. And Christopher Dring over on gamesindustry.biz, he basically said the same thing that I've been saying. To be fair, he did a much better job saying it than I did. But he did a good job going through and making my argument that I've made over and over for me. So I hope that you will, I hope that you will read his article and let me know what you think about Christopher Dring's article. You can find it in the show notes. Oh, by the way, don't forget, there's a claw giveaway also in the show notes. We are runjumpstomp.com. Stadiacast episode 44 will get you access to that giveaway. Big thank you again to Anthony Talcott for doing that. And my wife is awesome, and she's bringing me a hot tea, which is great because I've been talking nonstop for almost 40 minutes now, and my throat is starting to hurt. So thank you, honey. There we go. Sweet relief. All right. Let's switch over to the part of the show, which I like to call crowd play. This is the part where we talk about what you want. I went through and I didn't see a whole lot of YouTube comments that really had questions or anything like that. So I didn't have a chance to, or I didn't include any of that. I did get a super chat during the show. It says, to lead to you, sent a super chat. They said, happy Sunday, Bill. Hope that Lloyd thaws out soon. And I hope that he does as well. All right. So for this part of the show, which may be shorter than normal, and that would make sense since there's only one of me. I don't know why that's still on the screen. Let me switch that back over. Actually, I'll switch it over to that. So let's see what people have been talking about in chat. Ray Sherrod says, I want a gaming podcast show defending cloud gaming and they will laugh at me. Call me down. Call me a clown. Oh, he went on a gaming podcast show. Okay. I get what you're saying, Ray. Look, man, you can't worry about whether or not somebody agrees with you. You could just have your own opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to worry about people agreeing with you. All that does is reinforce your own ideas, and you don't have to worry about your ideas or anybody else's ideas. Just have your own ideas. But I get what I get what you're saying, man. People are always, shouting down Stadia, and I've got a podcast about Google Stadia. It's funny. I posted that GeForce Now. That's beside the point. Anyway, like that video got way more views than any other video I think that I've had on this channel. Even the superhero John Justice one, which is really crazy. All right. What else are people talking about? Random Noob says, I see Uplay Plus being separated for PC and Stadia simply because Stadia has to have a much cheaper due to having limited Ubisoft games. I mean, maybe, but maybe it'll just be included, but you can't use it. Look, here's how I see it working. You subscribe to Ubisoft's Uplay Plus, right? You subscribe to it. And then once you are subscribed to it, you can then access your games. You can download all of those games that Ubisoft has, right? And if you are also a Stadia Pro member, you can then play them in the cloud. Okay? Think of it less as a thing that goes through Stadia and more of a thing that also works on Stadia, if that makes sense. That's how I look at it. All right. Chaotic Riot says, I just want to play on my phone without having to buy a new one. You mean because you don't have a Pixel 4. Yeah, I can understand that. When the Pixel 4 came out and the iPhone 11 came out, I was very, very close to picking up the Pixel 4. I ended up going with the iPhone because I like the ecosystem, but it's very, very close to getting a Pixel 4. Brett asks, why do you think that none of these cloud streaming services support iPhone, iPad yet? I don't know. I think that one of the reasons that Stadia is not doing it yet probably has to do with the fact that the hardware in the iPad iPhone does not have hardware decoding of VP9 yet. But I have to say, the processor in my iPad is insanely powerful. This is a crazy powerful machine. And it might be because, it's custom hardware and custom software together. And that might be why it runs so damn well. You know what I mean? But it doesn't have VP9 support built in. Maybe Google's waiting for them to do that. I hope not. I hope that they'll just skip over it and they'll do software encoding or decoding. Darren Pogue says Apple is very restrictive. While that is true, that is 100% true, Apple is extremely restrictive. Let's keep this in mind. Apple is restrictive for monetization, right? Okay. So here's the thing, though. They already let you stream games on iOS, namely Steam Link. So you buy a game in Steam, and then you can stream it from your computer to your iPad. There's really no reason for Apple to not allow other platforms to do the same thing. So I don't think that that's going to happen. Emilio, that's what I just said. I said that that Apple doesn't have hardware decoding of VP9. That is true. However, you don't have to have hardware decoding of VP9 in order for it to work. So there's that too. Quite often when you're playing on the Chrome on the Chrome, what am I, 90? Quite often when you're playing on Chrome, you are not using VP9 anyway. So there's that. William Millard says, I feel like once Uplay Plus is launched for Stadia, we will also see an abundance of games launched to purchase as well. I think so, William. That makes a good sense. Like, they'll give us the option to buy the games that we are playing, that we can also subscribe to. Darren Pogue says, take NFC, for example. iOS only allows you to use it for money transaction. Lots of other examples as well. Yes, I agree. Apple is super, super restrictive. Todd L. says, I'm not so sure. Apple is pushing their Apple Arcade. And you're not wrong, but Apple Arcade and Google Stadia are different things. They are wildly different things. They often get lumped into one thing because they are both big tech corporations that are now jumping into gaming. But Apple Arcade and Google Stadia are wildly different things. They're different business models. They're different styles of games. They're different input methods for the most part. I subscribe to Apple Arcade because it's really, really cheap, and it gives the kids some games to play. But there's, like, people who are comparing them is like comparing apples and oranges. Like, literally. You know what? Here's a better thing. Yes. Okay. It's like comparing apples to carrots. Yeah, they're both food, but one is a fruit and one is a vegetable, and they are very, very different things. So Apple Arcade is not competition with Stadia, and Stadia is not competition with Apple Arcade. And the reason why people mention them together all the time is because many websites were doing that when Stadia first launched, because they both kind of launched around the same time. Now, why would all these websites do that? Because of search engine optimization. Hey, here's a thing that a lot of people are going to be wondering about Apple Arcade. Here's another thing a lot of people are going to be wondering about Google Stadia. If we write one article to compare the two things, then when people Google either of those things, that one article will come up and we will be able to sell lots of ads. You get it? Anyway, those two things are wildly different. I would not worry about that at all. Yes, Gem in chat has a perfect example. Apple Arcade is a competitor for Google Play Pass, not for Google Stadia. Thank you. I forgot about Google Play Pass because I don't have an Android phone. All right. Sofa Spy says, do you think the free version will launch in phases/invites, or do you think that they will just open it up for anyone and everyone at once in terms of surfer traffic? That's a good question. I think that it's going to be in waves, kind of like Gmail was, where you can get invites. You know, they're probably going to give us more buddy passes so that people can try it out, except they'll be buddy passes that are for Stadia base. They'll also say, hey, everybody sign up, and we will send out new waves each week, inviting new people in. And this is very important for them to do, and here's why. If everybody tries to play at once, the servers are not going to be able to handle it. And they're going to say, hey, sorry, there's a queue. And that's a bad sign, right? I have to be honest. I'm completely flabbergasted that A, I've never hit a queue in Stadia, and B, I've never hit a queue in GeForce Now, ever. That blows my mind. And I'm on the free version of GeForce Now. So if somebody hits a queue, that's one of those times when they're going to say, oh, look at that. Stadia is the worst thing ever. Blah, blah, blah. That's not going to happen. Google's not going to let that happen. They're going to invite enough people so that people can try it out. And some people will stick around and some people will filter out. But that first moment when you turn it on and everybody's hitting it, that would definitely start hitting a queue. So if Google slowly rolls it out over time, then they're less likely to run into that issue. Benedict Van Mortel says GeForce has more games. You are not wrong. GeForce Now has more games. However, GeForce Now is just streaming you a PC, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not interested in that nearly as much as I'm interested in what Google can do in the cloud with their Stadia tech that can't be done on a PC. That's why I think there's room for both in the market. And if you rewind back to the beginning, you'll hear my rant about that. Brett says, what should Google do to get people to try Stadia Base? Perhaps a free game, Dune 2016, if you make an account before a certain date. I think that that's a really good thing. You know, when I interviewed John Justice, vice president over at Google, he specifically said, yes, we're going to have demos and we're going to have ways for people to play the games who have never bought into Stadia because they want people to try it. So yeah, that's going to happen, Brett. I 100% think that's going to happen. William Millard makes a good point. It would make a lot of sense for it to be a Stadia exclusive title, except, I mean, maybe Guilt? I don't know. It's not going to be a first party thing because I think that they're too far out for that. Benedict Van Mortal, it's not $5 a year, it's $5 a month, and that's only if you're a founder and pay for the whole year ahead of time. So that's $60 a year, which that's not a bad deal. That's a really good deal for GeForce Now. $60 a year, and you can play you can play a bunch of Steam games on your old MacBook. I think that's awesome. Ooh, Todd L, that's right. Orcs Must Die 3. That would be a good one. All right. William Millard says maybe we could even see free-to-play titles when base launches. Maybe. All right. I'm going to stick around, but I'm going to wrap up the show because we're already at 50 minutes, and I told you I could talk. I don't know. Maybe a lot of this we could have cut out, but I like to talk about stuff, so that's what I did. All right. Follow the show on Twitter at Stadiacast. Follow me at Run Jump Stomp. And follow my co-host, who's not here today, Lloyd, at Dasme. That's DASME. Be sure to use the hashtag Stadiacast so that we can find your tweets if you want us to talk about your thoughts on the show. Join my Discord over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. There's over 1,000 people in that Discord, and we've got an LFG channel looking for group channel. that you can use to get people together to play. Don't forget about Super Stadia Saturday, which is next Saturday. That is Saturday the 15th. All right, make sure that you are here, right here at 12 noon Eastern. You can convert it to your own time zone later. 12 noon Eastern. Lloyd and I are going to be doing an open mic where we're going to talk about stuff. And there's other Stadia creators that are doing stuff throughout the day. I think if you, I don't want to say this wrong. I think if you follow Super Stadia Saturday, I want to make sure I get it right. Super Stadia Saturday. Is that a... No, that's not. It's Stadia Super Saturday, I think. Stadia Super Saturday. This is why I can't be trusted to type things. And now I can't find it. I'll leave a link in the show notes. Anyway, make sure that you follow them for more information about what's going on throughout the day. I think it's a 24-hour stream. And I'm out of here. You guys stay awesome. I'm going to play the music now. That music that you're about to hear is by Zircon Studios. It's Subterranean Kamikaze. I'll see you guys around. Bye-bye. All right, I'm back. I'm back, everybody. I'm back. Martin Johansson says, Stadia doesn't necessarily need demos. They can just set a timer, disable saves, and choose a specific checkpoint from where the players will start the game. I 100% agree. In fact, Lloyd and I did an entire episode about how Stadia could bring the golden age of demos back. Darren, it depends on the age of the kid. I think the guilt is pretty spooky, and especially like the marionettes, like those are some scary stuff. Chris Tan says, one annoying thing about GFN is they don't have a unified friends list. You'd have to re-invite people if you have games from other services. You're not wrong, but that's been a problem on PC for years. Like that's not a new problem. That's a problem that PC users have had forever, which is why a lot of us don't like the idea of something other than Steam. Rusty Homebrew says Stadia needs an annual subscription. Stadia base could have free-to-play weekends. Well, ultimately, they need cheap games, otherwise no one will use it. I don't agree with that. I don't think that the games have to be cheap. I think that if they're the same price as on consoles, they're going to do just fine. Oh my God, Sofa Spy. I can't believe I forgot to talk about that on the show today. I was making the show notes this morning, or last night, and I forgot about that story. I can't believe I forgot that. Yes. That's because Microsoft is right. Google and Amazon are the real competition right now. Dwemer, I mean, it has to, right? It has to. It has to include, it has to be part of Amazon Prime and offer Twitch integration. It has to. What are your thoughts on potentially using AI to take your place while you step away and a friend wants to play with your likeness? I don't want games to play for me. I don't understand why people want that. Chuck T says, hello, Bill. Why did I lose a bunch of games in GeForce Now when it switched from beta to being a released version? I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with, like, licensing deals. Like, maybe GeForce didn't clear it with certain companies, and they were like, okay, it's fine as long as you're not charging for it. But now that you're charging for it, it's not okay. But I don't have any inside information on that, Chuck T. Chuck T sounds like a cool guy. Who's that? This is my buddy Chuck T. Don't mess with him. Gavin Vickers, I really hope Stadia gets Diablo 4. I hope it comes to all platforms. I want it on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Stadia, Nintendo Switch, Twitch, whatever, and xCloud. I want it on every place so that everybody gets a chance to do it. If a game doesn't respect my time, then I just won't play it. I don't want the game to play for me. Oh, listen, William. If you don't think that we're going to be getting a Skyrim on Stadia, you're crazy. Do I think Sony and Nintendo will end up being only game studios? No. No, I know Miyamoto said recently, he said something along the lines of Nintendo's really focused on making their games less on hardware right now. But that doesn't mean that Nintendo's going to stop making hardware. And if Nintendo does stop making hardware, then I think the gaming industry is worse off for it. And Sony has PS Now or whatever it's called, because they bought. Was it them that bought Gaikai? I don't remember. I gotta look. Sony buys Gaikai. Yeah. So this was a while ago, but Sony bought Gaikai cloud gaming service for $380 million, and then they just didn't do anything with it. They have PS Now, which is pretty cool. From what I understand, I don't subscribe to it, but so I think that Sony is going to get into cloud gaming just as much as Microsoft is. Granite T Rock. As somebody with a degree in geology, I appreciate that name. Thank you very much for becoming a supporter. You're awesome. Look at this. I'll just put it right there. Right there on the top. Look at that. Sony purchased On Live as well. I thought Microsoft purchased On Live. Emilio, PS Now doesn't work well. I have tried it. But, okay, here's the thing, though, Emilio. I've had people tell me Stadia doesn't work well. Works great for me. I've had people say GeForce Now is garbage, and they love Stadia. So I think that maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I won't really have an opinion on it until I try it myself. Do I think the Stadia will ever work on other streaming devices such as a Roku? I do think so, Brett. Google is one of those companies that understands that it's best when they have their stuff everywhere. You know, that's one of the things that they said. They want you using the internet as much as possible. The more you use the internet, the more money Google makes. That's true. Sony doesn't have the cloud services. That's why they partnered with Microsoft. They are paying Microsoft a bunch of money for use their Azure cloud services. So that means that Sony can do it. Do I see a future where Stadia app comes to existing consoles? I don't know. I doubt it. William Miller, do I think we will see Google Fiber expanding soon? No, I don't think so. And here's the reason. Google was trying to bring fiber to cities across the United States, and they were sued by companies like Verizon and Time Warner Cable and Comcast and stuff like that, because basically taxpayers paid money to give these internet service providers a tax break to bring internet to those cities, and in return those internet providers get to have exclusive access to those cities. So when Google Fiber started coming in, they got sued, and Google said it's not worth all the lawsuits. So they said screw it, and they just stopped. So if that sounds really, 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 really stupid to you, then, you know, write your Congress critter and let them know how stupid that sounds. SofaSpy, I predict Amazon Cloud gaming service that will be like AWS and be a background server to any company like Sony, Nintendo, EA can make their own cloud platform. That would be really cool, SofaSpy, but what I predict instead is it's going to be a Twitch thing. Although, you know, Emilio says, I think that Sony and Nintendo don't have the net infrastructure or enough reach level Stadia of Microsoft and Amazon. Like I said, Sony is partnered with Microsoft for, you know, that specific thing. But yesterday, it's funny. Yesterday, like, I'm in New York, and I think it was New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire, maybe Pennsylvania. If you were a customer of Spectrum, which is pretty much everybody because we have very little competition here in the United States, but if you were a customer of Spectrum, you had no internet for most of yesterday. And what's even funnier is that on Steam, I have two games. I have two games on Steam that are installed right now. Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy XIV. Both of which are online-only games. So I couldn't play those. On Epic Games Store, I have two games installed. I'm going to open up the Epic Games Store right now because I can't remember. One of them is Dauntless. And then the other one is another online, like Dauntless is also an online-only game. And then, at least I think it is. Isn't it? I can't remember. So anyway, it's an online mostly game. And then the other game that I have installed, and oh god, I'm not signed in. Oh, hang on a sec. Let me get signed in. The other game that I had on the Epic Games Store is, I'm waiting for it to open, and it's taking forever. What's the other game? Where's my library? The Cycle. The other game that I have installed is The Cycle, which is another online-only games. So that meant that yesterday I could not play any games on my PC. I have two PlayStation 4s in my house. I've got my PS4 Pro, which is sitting right here next to me, and then I have a PS4 normal downstairs. That's my son's. And I was like, okay, I'll play something on my PlayStation. So I went to play. Because the one downstairs is my main PS4, and this is like my satellite PS4, my PS4 Pro is like the extra one. That meant that I couldn't play any games on this one because I couldn't connect to the internet. So I couldn't play on my PS4. And the one thing that I could do yesterday was play on my Switch. So I played and I finished a game called 1980X. And it was really awesome. 1980X is a super fun game. And it's really, really short. If you want to know more about it, check out runjumpstomp.com. Or no, youtube.com/runjumpstomp. And there's a video that I have over there of that. William Millard, have you looked into Elon Musk's Starlink internet concept? What are your thoughts on that and how it could affect the future of gaming? I mean, look, there have been promises of internet being super competitive and really, really fast for years, and it always goes anywhere. So I am aware of Starlink, and I'm skeptical. I would be happy to be wrong, but we'll see what happens. Art by Committee, Nintendo had some cloud games on Switch in Japan and used to have satellite games for one of their older systems in Japan. I'm sure they are looking into it. You're right, they are looking into it, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. Nintendo does allow some games to be streamed on Nintendo Switch. Resident Evil 7 is one of them. Phantasy Star Online 2 is another. Both of those games in Japan can be streamed. That being said, and then Art by Committee is referring to Satellaview, which was an add-on where you would have to play a game that you could download from a satellite at a certain time. On like there was a Zelda game that played that way on the Super Nintendo, which is kind of weird. So Nintendo's always been like looking for that online connectivity stuff for ages and ages and ages, and they just haven't been able to hit it yet. Bernard Baker, question for you. Do you think one of the annual Steam sales would be a boost to GeForce Now? I think that would be a smart time for NVIDIA to promote that service and the convenience. I don't look at GeForce Now. I mean, gosh, how do I think? I think GeForce Now is something where people who just want to play games... Can you buy games through GeForce Now? I haven't tried. I'm not going to try right now. Interesting. Hey, if you can buy games straight through GeForce Now, then yes, they should promote the hell out of it when that happens. In the Phil Harrison interview in Protocol, it quotes Stadia base to be released in a few months. A bit vague on how long that is. I mean, that's just how big companies do things. They are not going to be super specific about a date, because if they miss that date, then everybody gets mad at them. You, internet, have taught them how to behave. We have taught them that if they mention a specific date and then they don't hit that date, it's the end of the world and everybody makes fun of them. So why would they mention a specific date ever? So they're not sure when it's going to happen. And I don't blame them. Do you think Nintendo might use cloud gaming as their medium to share their games out for the first time, or will they stay exclusive? Nintendo's going to stay exclusive. for a long time. I think Nintendo's going to stay exclusive for a very, very long time. All right, hey, now that I've got a chance, let me find the Stadia Super Saturday thing. I got to find it real quick. I can't find the damn tweet or the Twitter account. Here we go. Oh. Okay, well, I'm not giving that address out. I just want to give out the Twitter. What's the Twitter? I can't find it. I wanted to share it, but I can't find it, you guys. Ashes to Ashes, how's it going? You missed all the fun? That's okay. There's always more fun to be had. So it's not supported to make purchases straight through that. So people would have to have Steam installed separately on their computer to make the purchase and then boot up GeForce Now. Since you're just chatting, why not do a quick video about the Microsoft article? I'd love to hear your take. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. All right. Now I gotta find it. It's probably in my news links tips only, but I got buried with all the Nintendo stuff. All right, so Stadiacast. No, not that one. Zibbity-zibbity-zoo. By the way, while I'm looking for this, if anybody has not already done so, do me a favor. Head to runjumpstomp.com/mail. Let me type that out for you. I want you guys to join this. All right? runjumpstomp.com/mail. If you go to runjumpstomp.com/mail, you can sign up for my newsletter. What the hell? Oh, the link is gone. Why did that get taken down? Now I gotta look for it. Here we go. All right. All right. Let's pause the music for a second. And we'll go back to here. And we're going to start at around 1:30. Actually, you know what? I'll record this at the same time. That way I have it separately. All right. Hey, everyone. Got a quick Stadia update for you. I meant to talk about this on the latest episode of Stadiacast, which you can download and listen to at your convenience, wherever podcasts are downloaded. But Microsoft recently made an announcement, not really an announcement, but they were talking about competition. And they said something very, very interesting. Phil Spencer is who I'm talking about here. He was talking to Protocol, and he said, when you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have tons of respect for them, but we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward. That's not to disrespect Nintendo and Sony, but the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Azure, but we've invested tens of billions of dollars in the cloud over the years. I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with those guys while Amazon and Google are focusing on how to get gaming to 7 billion people around the world, Ultimately, that's the goal. And you know what this reminds me of? This very much reminds me of Nintendo in the Wii era. In the Wii era, Mr. Satoru Iwata, who was the president of Nintendo at the time, he said something very, very interesting and very important about Nintendo. He said, right now, Nintendo is focusing on growing the gaming industry, not competing with the other platforms, but we just want to grow the gaming industry. We want to bring in new people, because if you're not growing, you're dying. And so that's why they brought out the Wii, and they very much grew the gaming industry. A lot of people bought the Wii. It was like an insane juggernaut of sales for the Wii. And Nintendo very much grew the gaming industry that way. You know what else grew the gaming industry? Although that wasn't really their idea, is cell phones. Cell phones grew the gaming industry. Of course, we don't necessarily think of, or myself, we don't think of cell phone games as the kind of games in the gaming industry that we're talking about most of the time, but it grew the gaming industry. And Amazon and Google and Microsoft are poised to grow the gaming industry. I've talked about this on the show many, many times. Stadia is not focused on trying to capture, or at least they shouldn't be focused on trying to capture, the super hardcore gamers. The super hardcore gamers are not going to be satisfied. Oh my God. The super hardcore gamers are not going to be satisfied by unless they have the highest resolution, the highest frames per second, the minimal input lag. They just won't be satisfied. And sure, they might try Stadia, and like me, they may try it and say, this is pretty damn good. And I think it's pretty damn good. GeForce Now is good. Stadia is good. Streaming games works. There's no denying it. Streaming games does work. Caveat, if you have good internet. And I have good internet. So there's a lot of people out there that have good internet, but they don't have a gaming PC, and they don't have a gaming console. But they might want to play games, and they don't want to. They might not play a lot of games in the year. So they want, like, those people might want to try out a game, but they don't want to invest all of the money into the hardware. And that's where streaming comes in. That's why Phil Spencer said this quote, I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with those guys while Amazon and Google are focusing on how to get gaming to 7 billion people. Microsoft and Google, and we assume Amazon, are all working towards this one goal, and that is to grow the gaming industry. And I think that is absolutely huge. I think that is very forward-looking. And I think at the end of the day, that is going to be the strategy that wins at the end. Right now, there are people who might be a little myopic, and they look at what Google is doing and maybe what Xbox is doing, and they say, that's stupid. This is terrible. It's a joke. But they don't understand that they're playing checkers, and Microsoft and Google are playing three-dimensional chess. That's really how I see this in the future. That's how I see it. And if you don't see it that way, that's fine. But for me, I think it's going to be, I think the future is really, really bright when it comes to cloud gaming. And I think that that's the future. There you go. See ya. And I just realized I didn't record any of that. It's okay. I have 131. I forgot to hit the record button on my button pressers. But that's okay. Now you have my thoughts on it. Yeah, I can cut it out of this video. I'll have to go find it. And did you guys see that I kept having to tell my the Google Home thing to shut up? Ashes to Ashes says, do it again exactly as you did. Nah. Sports 001 says, I like to own my games. I mean, that's fine. You can be fine with that. Guess what? You're not going to be able to own your games forever. The future is digital. I don't know what to tell you, man. I was setting off everybody's? I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to. Bernard Banker, in my opinion, I don't know how anybody couldn't be excited for Stadia cloud gaming in the future after watching that video. Great video intake. Oh, thanks, Bernard. Your discs are keys. Keys that can be scratched, broken, or lost. And that is true. Sorry, Granite T Rock. I love that name so much. Gavin, go to runjumpstomp.com/discord. Here, let me give you the link. If you click on that, it's going to bring you here. And then there's a button that says click right here to join the Nerd Nest. You click on that, and you should be all set. By the way, everybody, Anthony Talcott is giving away. He's giving away a Google Claw that allows you to play with your controller, your Stadia controller, and your phone, like right above it. Shut up. Oh my God. This thing keeps going off. So click on that and add your email address. Switch it to mute. I don't want to switch it to mute. I want it to be on if I need it. All right. There we go. Sorry, I was updating something. You know the very first thing that consoles do when you first insert your disc? It installs an update from the internet. Game preservation has changed immensely, and we have a lot of remasters anyway. Yeah, I get you. What time is it for me? It is 11:32. Hang on, I just got to reply to somebody. All right. How likely is it that Amazon's cloud gaming platform releases this year? I don't know. I think maybe. All right, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I'm going to get out of here. I've got some stuff to do around the house. I got to edit the show and get it uploaded as well. You guys are all awesome. I really appreciate it. Don't forget about Super Stadia Saturday, which is next Saturday. We will be doing an open mic right here at 12 noon Eastern. That's 12 noon. So basically, this same time, roughly, or plus a half hour. God, I don't know how to say this better. 12 noon on Saturday. Make sure that you're here. I will see you guys around. Stay awesome.